Good morning and welcome to Santa Barbara, California. Today's high is 77 degrees. At 9:30 we took a tender ashore for a private wine excursion for 8 people that I had arranged. Brian, the owner of Sustainable Vine Tours, picked us up in his 9-passenger Mercedes van. Brian explained that because the coastline near Santa Barbara runs east to west, the prevailing westerly winds make this a perfect wine-growing region. Our first stop on our wine tour was at the Dimitri Vineyards, founded in 2005. Our group of 8 sampled 5 of the wines, while Brian gave us information about each wine and acted as our host. After our tasting, Brian took us for a behind-the-scenes tour. It was harvest time in the valley, so we got to see how wine was produced. Brian explained the processes of making wine and how each of the machines was used in the process. Next, we went to the wine storage area, where wine is stored in new oak French barrels, costing up to $1,000 a piece. Some of the wine is stored in concrete containers. We saw the harvest of the grapes taking place as we left the winery. The comedy movie Sideways was partially filmed in the wine country area. One of the scenes in the movie takes place on the porch of this winery that we passed by. Our next stop was at the Stoltman Wine Tasting Room, where we sampled 6 wines. After our second tasting, it was time for a gourmet organic picnic lunch, served in a scenic setting within the vineyards. The last stop on our wine tasting tour was at the Alma Rosa Winery, founded in 2005. The winery was used in the filming of the movie Sideways. We had a fabulous time on our wine tasting tour in Santa Barbara. Good morning and welcome to Catalina Island, California. Today's high will be 81 degrees. Rosie and I took a tender into Avalon for our 9:30 excursion, the Cape Canyon Expedition. As we waited for our excursion to start, the fog rolled in. Our driver and guide, Kim, arrived on time with the H1 Hummer. Our tour started at 9:30 a.m. with a short trip through the streets of Avalon. As we got into the hills, we could see the lower levels of Avalon covered in fog, while navigating the steep, winding roads. Looking back, we could see the top of our ship, 15 stories high, poking through the fog layer. Our tour is the only scheduled off-road tour that travels into the beautiful Cape Canyon and the steep, rugged Sheep Chute, where Catalina's bison can frequently be seen.
Plus the females only run about 700 to 1,000 pounds, so there's a big size difference.
Are these just wild or do they raise them?
Oh no, they're wild. They're completely wild. We have as little interaction with them as possible.
The scenery is more spectacular and breathtaking around every bend and turn in the road. Next, we ventured through Middle Ranch Canyon in the heart of Catalina's interior. The amazing beauty of nature was all around us. In Middle Ranch Canyon, we saw the habitat of the American bald eagle. In Quail Valley, we saw woodpeckers place nuts into holes they had pecked in telephone poles. We also saw the Catalina wild fox. Next, it was down rocky, steep, and rugged roads to scenic Little Harbor on the westward side of the island for spectacular views. We drove past vineyards that were planted about 5 years ago for winemaking. Next, we drove to Airport in the Sky at 1,602 feet above sea level. There, we had the opportunity to purchase lunch at the airport's DC-3 Cafe and admire the Conservancy Nature Center's educational displays. While Rosie and I waited for our buffalo meat tacos and burger, we enjoyed watching the hummingbirds. We also enjoyed looking at other exotic birds of flight. Another way to tour the island is in a fully restored 1950s flexible bus. On our way back to Avalon, we saw the same bison that we had seen at the start of our tour. We also drove through the zip line area. The Cape Canyon Expedition is one of the best tours we have ever had. I highly recommend it. It ended with a view of the Sapphire Princess in the harbor at Avalon. Back in Avalon, we stopped at Mi Casita for drinks with other Cruise Critic members, and then we boarded a tender back to the ship. Good morning, Thursday, October 18th. Welcome to San Diego. Our friends Mark and Bunny, who live in San Diego, are picking us up at the dock for a fun-filled day. Our first stop is for breakfast. Next stop was the world-famous San Diego Zoo. We took a guided bus tour. We enjoyed a 35-minute narrated tour on a double-decker bus, covering about 70% of the San Diego Zoo. Come along with us as we ride the bus through the San Diego Zoo. All the way from Australia, a koala bear. Once near extinction, the California condor. A grizzly bear is next, followed by a sun bear. The giraffes share their space with much smaller gazelles. The zoo has a herd of Maasai giraffes, native to Kenya. As the bus tour ended, we saw the rhinos. We then got off the bus and walked to Panda Canyon. In Panda Canyon, we saw the takin, and of course, the giant pandas from China. The San Diego Zoo has had a love affair with giant pandas ever since 1987. The zoo currently has 4 giant pandas, including the newest cub, born July 29th, 2012. After the pandas, we walked to the heart of the San Diego Zoo to see the gorillas and other monkeys. The San Diego Zoo was spectacular. On our way out, we saw a ground squirrel. From the zoo, we went to Casa Guadalajara for lunch and drinks, and then some more drinks. We had a wonderful day with Bunny and Mark, but now it was time to say goodbye. The ship sailed from the San Diego harbor at 5 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, Rosie and I had dinner for two at Sabatini's. Good morning, Friday, October 19th. Welcome to Ensenada, Mexico. The high today, 79 degrees. Ensenada was the last port and the last full day of our cruise, so Rosie and I decided to relax. We walked to the front of the ship to see the harbor seals. Later, Rosie and I played 3 hours of shuffleboard. At 4 o'clock, we had a sail-away party with Dawn and Paul. Sail-away was at 5 o'clock. A group of 10 of us had dinner at the Sterling Steakhouse. It was fabulous. Saturday, October 20th. 6:30 a.m. We're back where it started. The cruise is over. Rosie and I had fun, met wonderful people, and we have memories to last a lifetime. Photos and video by Bill Raffel. Music by Kevin MacLeod. Creative Commons license.